When I was 70, I started forgetting my own grandkids' names. I once called my grandson, Charlie, for an entire weekend. His name's Ben. He didn't correct me, just smiled and said, "Close enough, Grandpa." I couldn't bend down to tie my shoes, so I wore slippers. Everywhere. One time I wore them to church. Didn't realize until communion. Let me tell you, nothing humbles a man like seeing his own fuzzy slippers in the house of the Lord. And honestly, I thought that was just how aging worked. Your body slows down, your mind gets foggy, and one day you start to feel more like a shadow than a person. But today, 15 years later, I walk 3 laps around the park every morning. No walker, no cane, no Charlie. Just me, my shoes, and a breeze that reminds me I'm still here. I'm 85 now. I live alone. And somehow I feel more alive than I did at 65. People ask me, "What's your secret? Green juice? Brain pills? Tai Chi?" And I always tell them the truth. I walk. That's it. No magic. No gym membership. Just one stubborn old man putting one foot in front of the other, day after day. But it didn't start that way. At first, even 5 minutes felt like climbing a mountain. I huffed, I puffed, I nearly turned back. But I kept going, and the results? Well, they surprised even my doctor. And hey, before I go any further, if you're watching this and someone comes to mind, a friend, a sibling, maybe even your parent, share this video with them. One small story can sometimes spark a big change. Because believe me, this didn't happen overnight. People see me now and think I've always been this steady old guy with his morning walks and cheerful smile. But the truth, I was falling apart. Quietly, slowly, like a house that hadn't been lived in for too long. So if you've got a minute, I want to take you back to where it all began, to the moment I stopped fading and took that very first step. Part 1, from exhaustion to that first step. 15 years ago, I was quietly slipping away. I didn't make a scene about it. There was no big diagnosis, no dramatic moment, just little things. I stopped answering phone calls, stopped going to church, started skipping meals, not because I wasn't hungry, but because I couldn't be bothered. I forgot where I put things, forgot names. I even forgot why I'd walked into a room. My legs felt heavy. My back stiffened each morning like someone had replaced my spine with concrete. Sleep? That became a stranger. I'd lie awake for hours, listening to the refrigerator hum like it was the only heartbeat left in the house. After my wife passed, the house got quieter. And so did I. I used to tell myself, this is just aging. Nothing to fix, nothing to fight. But deep down, I knew I was shrinking. Not just in posture, but in presence. Then came a visit to my doctor. He looked at my chart, then looked at me. Not with pity, not with alarm, but something gentler. "Your numbers are okay," he said, "but you're fading." He was right, and it stung. Then he leaned in and said something strange. "Start walking. 5 minutes, just to the mailbox and back." I wanted to roll my eyes. 5 minutes? What difference could that possibly make? But something about the way he said it, like he'd seen this before, like he knew something I didn't, made me try. The next morning, I put on my oldest shoes and shuffled down the front steps. The cold air bit my face. My knees cracked like popcorn. I reached the mailbox and leaned on it like it was a life raft. Then I turned around and walked back. It was nothing impressive, no medal-worthy moment, but it was mine. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of something I thought I'd lost. Hope. So the next day, I did it again. And the day after that. Some days I only made it halfway. Some days my legs trembled. But slowly I walked my way out of the fog. And here's the strange part. I didn't notice the change at first. Not really. But then, things started shifting. Not just my body, something deeper. One morning I woke up and realized I'd slept through the night. No tossing, no turning, just peaceful, uninterrupted rest. Another day, I walked past a neighbor and remembered her name before she said it, and that's when it hit me. Something's happening. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. So I asked my doctor, What's going on? And what he told me surprised me even more than the walking itself. Part 2, the surprising changes and why they happened. At first, I didn't notice the change. I still grunted getting out of my chair, still misplaced my glasses twice a day, still wondered what day of the week it was, more often than I'd like to admit. But then something shifted. One morning, I realized I had slept through the night. No tossing, no turning, no staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., doing math I didn't need. Another morning, I remembered my entire grocery list without writing it down. That may not sound like much, but for me, it felt like winning the lottery without the taxes. Even my daughter noticed. "You sound different on the phone, Dad," she said. Lighter, sharper. And my doctor? He looked at my blood work and said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." So I asked him, "Doc, what's happening to me?" He smiled and said, "You're waking your brain up." Turns out, walking isn't just good for your legs, it's good for your head too. Regular walking increases blood flow to the brain, brings in more oxygen, and helps create new neural pathways. Those little connections that keep your memory sharp and your thinking clear. There's even a fancy name for it: neuroplasticity. It's your brain's way of staying young without needing Botox. One study, out of Harvard no less, found that walking just 30 minutes a day can reduce your risk of dementia by nearly 30%. 30%. That's not small potatoes. And those feel-good chemicals people talk about? They're real. Endorphins, serotonin, all those fancy words for "you're gonna feel better, old man." I wasn't chasing a six-pack. I was chasing clarity, energy, peace. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was fading anymore. I felt like I was coming back. And if you felt that too, even in a small way, I'd love to hear about it. Maybe you've taken your first few walks. Maybe you've felt a shift in your sleep, your energy, your mood. Drop a comment below. I might be an old man, but I read every word, and your story could be the one that nudges someone else into trying. But here's the thing. Walking helped me feel better. Yes, but it didn't help because I was walking. It helped because I figured out how to walk in a way that actually worked for me. It took me a few months and more than a few sore knees, but I eventually found a rhythm. Let me share what I learned, so maybe you don't have to limp through it like I did. Part 3, 3 golden rules I learned after 6 months. By the time I hit 6 months, walking had become part of my day, like brushing my teeth or feeding the cat. Except walking did something even better. It made me feel alive again. But here's what I learned fast. Just walking isn't enough. How you walk matters. So if you're just starting, or you've been at it for a while and feel stuck, here are 3 simple rules I discovered the hard way. Rule number 1, walk early. Mornings are magic. The world's quiet, the air's cool, and my body hasn't had time to come up with excuses yet. Plus, early sunlight helps reset your body clock. That circadian rhythm stuff your doctor talks about, it's real. I didn't understand the science. Still don't really, but I know this. When I walk in the morning, I sleep better at night. Every time. Rule number 2, don't turn it into a race. I've seen folks power walking like they're trying to outpace death itself. Me, I take my time. If you're out of breath, pushing too hard, or sweating like you're in a boot camp, you're missing the point. I walk at a pace where I can still hum an old Sinatra tune and nod at the mailman. That's how I know it's just right. Slow and steady isn't just for turtles, it works for old men too. Rule number 3, be where your feet are. It took me a while to get this one. At first I walked with a head full of noise, worries, regrets, grocery lists, memories I couldn't fix. But one morning I looked up and really saw the sky, heard the birds, felt the warmth on my face. That's when walking stopped being a task and became a kind of prayer. Not the kind you whisper in church, but the kind where you just exist and feel grateful to still be moving. So now I leave the noise behind when I walk. I breathe. I notice things. And somehow I always come back home a little lighter. Those 3 rules changed everything for me. But let me be honest. I didn't figure them out right away. In fact, I messed up quite a bit early on. I wore the wrong shoes, walked the wrong way, pushed myself too hard. At one point, I nearly quit altogether. So if you're thinking of starting, or if you already have but feel something's not working, don't worry, I've made the mistakes for you. Let me tell you about them, so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. Part 4, the mistakes I made and how I fixed them. Now, I wish I could tell you I figured it all out from day one. But if I'm being honest, I did a lot of things wrong at the beginning. Some were small, some nearly made me give up. So if you're just getting started, maybe my stumbles can help save you a few. Mistake number 1, I wore the wrong shoes. On my very first walk, I threw on an old pair of loafers. They looked fine, comfortable even. By the time I got to the end of the block, I had a blister the size of a silver dollar. 2 days later, I had back pain that made me wish I was 20 years older, just so I could lie down with dignity. Lesson learned, get walking shoes, real ones, with arch support, grip, cushion. Not stylish maybe, but then again, I'm not trying to impress the squirrels. Mistake number 2, I skipped the warm-up. Back then, I thought warming up was for athletes. I figured, I'm just walking. What's to warm? Turns out, a lot. On day 5, I took off a bit too quickly, trying to prove something, I suppose. By the time I got home, my knees felt like someone had replaced them with rusty hinges. Now, I stretch. Nothing fancy, just a few shoulder rolls, some gentle leg swings, a deep breath or two. It's not about performance, it's about kindness to your own body. Mistake number 3, I pushed too hard, too soon. Somewhere around week 3, I started feeling pretty proud of myself. I thought, hey, maybe I should double my distance today. Bad idea. I came home lightheaded, sore, and angry at myself. It took 2 full days to feel normal again. Walking isn't about proving anything. You don't get extra points for speed. You win by showing up again and again. Mistake number 4, I didn't drink enough water. Simple, right? But when you're older, your thirst signal gets a little lazy. I'd go walking without a sip and wonder why I felt drained afterward. Now I drink a glass before I go and keep a small bottle with me, just in case. That tiny habit, it made a big difference. Mistake number 5, I thought I had to do it all alone. For a long time, I didn't tell anyone I was walking. Didn't want to bother the kids, didn't want to seem needy. But one day my neighbor, an old retired teacher named Ed, saw me walking and joined in. Now we go together twice a week. Some days we talk, some days we don't. But knowing someone's beside you, even in silence, that's its own kind of strength. So yes, I made mistakes. Plenty. But each one taught me something. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Progress isn't perfect. You'll forget your water bottle. You'll wear the wrong socks. You'll skip a day and think it's all over. It's not. Just start again tomorrow. That's how you keep going. After all these missteps and small victories, people started asking me, how do I begin? And I'd smile and say, start small, start simple. But most importantly, just start. Because you don't need to walk far. You just need to take that first step and keep walking long enough to see what happens. And in the next part, I'll tell you exactly how I'd begin if I were starting all over again right now. People often ask me now, where do I start if I've never done this before? And I always tell them the same thing. Start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where you were 10 years ago, right here, right now, in the body you've got today, because that's exactly how I started. Step 1, start with 5 minutes. Forget 30, forget 10, start with 5. Walk to the mailbox and back. Walk around the kitchen. Heck, walk in place during the commercial break of your favorite show. If 5 minutes feels like too much, do 2. Then tomorrow, try for 3. It's not about the time, it's about the pattern. You're teaching your body that it's still allowed to move. Step 2, pick the same time each day. Your brain loves routine, especially as you get older. I walk in the morning because it gives me energy for the day. But you can walk whenever your body feels best. The point is, make it a habit. Tie it to something else, like right after your coffee or right before lunch. Eventually it becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth, except more fun, and hopefully fewer cavities involved. Step 3, make it enjoyable. I don't walk on a treadmill, and I don't walk laps around the same tree unless I want to. Some days I stroll through the neighborhood. Some days I take a new route just to shake things up. Some days I just walk slow and look at the sky. You don't need music or a podcast, but if it helps, go ahead. Or better yet, walk with someone. Even if it's just once a week, it changes everything. Step 4, forgive yourself if you miss a day. You're not a robot. Life happens, rain happens, a sore hip happens, a birthday brunch with pancakes happens. If you skip a day, or a few, don't quit. Just pick it back up again. No guilt, no shame, no dramatic, I'll start Monday. Just lace up your shoes and go. That's how you build something that lasts. Step 5, celebrate small wins. Every step counts. Every walk is a win. Every time you choose movement over sitting still, you're doing something powerful. So give yourself credit. Tell your neighbor. Tell your grandkids. Write it on a sticky note and put it on the fridge. You're not just walking. You're coming back to life, step by step. And if you're wondering when the right time is, it's today, right now, even if it's just to the end of the driveway. That's how I started. That's how you can start too. So now you know what walking did for me, how it pulled me back from the fog, cleared my mind, and brought me back to myself. But I don't want this to be just my story. I want it to be yours too. And before I go, I've got one last thing to say. Conclusion. I'm 85 years old now. Some mornings my knees still ache. Some days I still forget where I put my keys. And sometimes the walk feels longer than usual, but I walk anyway. Not to chase youth, I've had my share. Not to outsmart time, it always wins in the end. I walk because it reminds me I'm still here, still moving, still choosing life, one step at a time. They say aging is about slowing down. I say maybe, but slowing down isn't the same as giving up. You can slow down and still keep going. You can move gently and still move forward. You can live a quieter life and still fill it with meaning. So if you're watching this, wondering if it's too late, if you're too tired, too out of shape, too alone, let me be clear, you're not too anything. You're exactly where you need to be to begin, right now, right here. And your first step, it doesn't need to be far. It just needs to be real. If this story spoke to you, if something inside you whispered, maybe I could try, then I hope you will. Leave a comment below. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me where your feet might take you tomorrow. I read every single one, and I'd love to walk this road with you, even from a distance. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been sitting still for too long, share this video with them. It might be the gentle nudge they've been waiting for. And if you want more stories, more reminders that growing older doesn't mean growing invisible, go ahead and subscribe. I've got more to share, more steps to take. And who knows, maybe we'll meet one morning, walking under the same sun. Until then, keep walking. You're stronger than you think, and it's never too late to begin again.